Hi everyone on YouTube. Thank you for joining me today. You know, the wool came out absolutely beautiful. Um, I'm going to show you the difference between the wool that you buy freshly sheared off the sheep at the farm and the kind that you buy at the store. And forgive me for having to sip the coffee. We'll sip it to get through this. So this wool has texture in it. I mean, here, I want to show you. There's a couple of pieces I pulled out of it that have all curly cues. You see the curls in there? You can see the curls in there as I'm holding it. Beautiful, gorgeous. Now, the type of wool, and this isn't a bad thing necessarily, but this is the wool you'll buy, most likely, you'll find in a store. So you see no texture to this whatsoever, and it's because it's been bleached out. They sometimes will have wool with some of the curls in it or the waves, depending on the type of sheep or goat that they pulled it from and the type of washing that they're doing. And that's always beautiful if you can get the texture. So anyway, I'm going to give you tips today on how to make a cat and show you the essentials to make the cat. I'm not doing it right from scratch because I did a video like that earlier this morning and it took forever. So, but I am going to show you how to make a cat. So the very first thing you want to do is make sure the wool that you're using is what they call splayed. You want to pull it apart horizontally, vertically, diagonally. You want to get it all nice and fluffy pulled apart, okay? So you have a good amount of wool that you're working with, so when you start to needle felt it, it's going to hook, because you'll put this down essentially in a ball, because that's how we're making this cat. Now I want to show you the cat that we're working with first here. So I'm going to put that to the side, and I'll be doing demos as we go along, and I think it's the easiest way to do it. So this cat, I have to tell you, I simply love this cat. And I used the bleached wool, the wool that I bought from the store long ago. Oh, you know what this was actually? I didn't even buy it. I hardly buy things. This was a trade from a lady across the street of yarn. I gave her a bunch of yarn I don't use, and she gave me a bunch of wool she doesn't use. So I used that for the cat's head. And then I used this wool that we just washed out together for the body. And so I left this part a little fluffy. Now I first made a ball, and I'm going to show you how I just got it kind of like a little bit elongated, a little cylinder shape, to kind of give the idea that the cat is sitting, and flatten the bottom so the cat can sit. Whoops, it's hooking on me. So, and so I'm going to show you that in a moment, and I'll give you tips on splay, how to connect the head to the body. The ears are a triangle. Now, you definitely want to make the triangle. There's a couple ways. You can take a piece of cardboard, cut a triangle out. So it's where you can take your wool, you put your cardboard onto your base or your foam that you're working with, and you put the wool right in the triangular cut out, and then you start needle felting. and so it gives you the shape of the triangle. So that's an easy way to get a triangle. Another way is just a needle felt, a flat piece of wool, and cut it into a triangle. Because wool, you can cut it, you can sew it, you can reshape it, you can tie fabrics and sew fabrics onto it. So that's how you get the triangles. You want your ears of your cat to be large, because guess what? You can always cut it down and you'll still have a triangle. But these ears are large, and they come down to the bottom of the cat's head, about halfway down, because the scarf is covering the other half. Halfway down to the cat's head, needle felt it on, and then you cover it up with some other wool so the little creases are not showing. So that's how you do the ears. Now, if you want to give the ears a little cuff like that, what you're going to do, I'm going to show you this. You're going to take the ear, you're going to take the triangle, and you're going to simply, right in the middle of the triangle, you're just going to take your needle and just kind of needle felt down the wool, and you're going to see the cuff naturally occur. See, there it is. You see some wool coming out the other side, and you can always finesse that by just gently needle felting that back in. But that's how you get the cuff. And so you want to put the cuff right towards the inner side of the cat's head, and then you'll see, and you can see the cuffs there. So let's see if I can get it a little closer. You see the cuffs? Now, the anatomy of a cat, it's important. Anything you're going to needle felt, you look at the anatomy of it, right? So specific features of a cat is the ears are sitting on the outside at the very end of the head. They're not flopping down like a rabbit down the side, or they're not close, close to each other on the head. They are on either side of the head, and the cat's head is a little flat, almost like an owl, almost. But the features of the cat will make it look more and more like a cat, right? And then you have the tail, so you can have the tail going like that, or you can have it sit around the bottom of the cat. Now, the shape of the cat, I had shared, I took it apart, but I shared a cat on TikTok, and I made the body a ball like this, and then the head a ball. And that was it. Now, cats kind of give you the idea of the head kind of being triangular, cylinder. So I kind of went with cylinder on this, and I'll take the scarf off for a moment so you can see the cylinder shape there. And then this was a ball, and I just kind of made that a little more narrow. And then, dressing it up is just so much fun. It's almost, and I didn't give this cat a face. However, I am going to give you some tips on how to make a face. And I didn't give it a face because I think it's just so beautiful without, like, just using your imagination with the silhouette of this cat. I just love this the way it is, and I will be making a lot more cats. And I thank the person for asking me, a TikTok viewer asking me to make a cat, or can you make a cat? So with that, let's go over and attach some of these pieces so you can see how to attach your pieces. Now, having said that, with needle felting, you can also sew these pieces after you've needle felted them, because you don't want to not needle felt them, because if you just sew them, you're going to have gaps here between both of these pieces. So, but if you feel more secure sewing them, you can go ahead and do that. Oh, and the other thing I just want to say and remind you, it's in the content too, but these pieces are strictly for home deco, right? Or an ornament, or a collectible. So these are not made safely for toys. And the reason is the fibers do come loose. So these are for home deco only, home decorating. So with that said, let's get our little cat attached. So you take some splay, that's what this is called, splay. And there's different ways to do this. You can while you're making the ball, you can leave some wool loose at the end. So that's a good way to do it. If you have forgotten or you don't want to do it that way, you can just put some wool between. You can either put it completely over your top piece and pull it down. I'm not going to do that though. Or you can put it between both pieces, and that is what I'm going to do, because that way I am going to fluctuate between needle felting upper, bottom, upper, bottom, upper, bottom, and that's how I'm going to do it. So with that said, I'm going to go all the way around, and now they say if you jab the needle up and down, straight up and down, it hooks the wool much more effectively, and not to go on an angle. You do see me going on angles. I do go on angles only because I'm building the piece, and I feel that's how I'm going to get all of my wool attached and hooked for top to bottom. So I'm going all the way around, and I'm just pulling this up and jabbing it in. So you see it's at the bottom of the top piece. I pull it up and jab it in. So now it's wrapping itself around the bottom of the top piece and going into the lower piece, into the body. So, and don't worry that this is now flat. You're like, oh my God, you're flattening that. That's okay, because we can reshape it. We reshape and shape as we go along. And that's the beauty of needle felting. It's super duper easy to do it. You know, if you sewed a piece of fabric that's stuffed in place and you sewed it all up and this and that, and you didn't like the shape of it, wow, that's some work to redo that. But with needle felting, you shape and reshape as you go along. So that's nice and connected. You see, that's really good, very nicely connected. So now I'm going to go around the top part, and I'm going to emphasize the top part because that's the head, and it's connected now very nice. And the way I'm emphasizing it is I am jabbing all the way around, giving it a neck. I'm giving it space between the head and the body. I'm coming back up to the head because I want to make sure it's round. I put it out of shape a tiny bit there. Now, if you have a piece that's, let's see, well, I guess I didn't need, no, well, I'm going to show you. This piece, look, that piece is kind of sticking up a little bit, and you don't want it to stick up. So, and it won't go down, it's because it's all going in the same direction. See that? It needs to be splayed, it needs to be pulled in different directions, and then put them all going in different directions, and then come back over and needle felt them into the piece, and you will see that matter will be resolved. Okay, so that is how you attach the top piece to the bottom piece. Okay, this top piece was made separate from the bottom piece. When I connected them like this, everything was out of shape. I had to reshape it. Now, we're going to leave the cat there. Let's say you want, I'm going to squish these. So let's say you have your circle and you want it cylinder like this. So what you're going to do is you're going to take your needle, felted needle, take your hands too and squish it like that. That's okay. That's the shape you want. So you're going to use your needle felting to get it to adhere, to get it felted, to get it to stay in that shape. That's what you want. You want it cylinder. So you can't, it's not just enough to squeeze it like that. You're just doing that to help you shape it. So then you come back and you go all the way around, shaping it in its elongated form. Okay, now we're getting an elongated form. And there's a lot of fibers still sticking up. So you continue to do your needle felting until your piece is looking like you want it to look. Now, I will share with you also, that's a little bit more, it's hard to see this white, but I wanted to use this, but that's why I used a definite 2 colors here, and I just fell in love with this actually. So this wool, the body, is the wool that we washed. And when I needle felted it, I'm giving it a core like this that you can't easily squish it. Okay, you want this needle felted so it has substance. Now, if you want the fluffy effect, come back around with some wool like this. Bring it around, put it around your piece, right? And needle felt it on a little bit more lightly, not with the idea that you are needle felting it firmly with the core piece, but rather that you're you're needle felting it in so it stays in and it's in, but the surface of it has a little fluff. So now you can do it that way. You can do it that way so that you're getting the fluff. Or what you can do, and I'm going to take this back off because this is the demo. What you can do is not that needle, but take a regular needle and then just like you're combing, whoops, that's not regular needle. Like you're combing it, a regular sewing needle. When you comb it, a certain fluffiness will come out. The fibers will lift. The fibers lift with the combing. And just do it like that. That's another effective way to get fluff. Now, okay, so now you have your top part and your bottom part. Now, to get the ears, I want to show you, I think we lost the ear, but that's okay. We're gonna make an ear and I'm gonna show you how to attach it. So we'll do that right now. This is our little demo, so we're not spending an incredible amount of time on it, but we are getting all the essentials you need to make a beautiful cat. So I take a piece of wool, and I usually try to needle felt it into a triangle. Okay, I fold it, but you don't have to have a triangle. So you fold it because you want to make it a little thicker. because you definitely don't want to skimp out on the ears or these parts that are small. You want them, oh, here's the ear. You want them to have enough wool and substance so that when you adhere them, you attach them to your piece, they're really attached. If there's not enough wool in this ear and you go ahead and try to attach it, it will be flimsy. It will come off or it will fall apart. It won't be effective. So now I'm folding this and I'm getting my triangle. So I have 2 ears. Now this demo cat isn't looking like our beautiful cat here because we're going quick and it's a demo. But look at the size of these ears. Okay, this ear, and this ear. Oh, they're close to the same size. This one is a little thicker. So guess what? I'm going to go ahead and cut a little piece off there. And I'm going to cut one more piece off. Now, actually, you should use your little peeking scissors because they are very good at minimizing the any of the wool fraying there, or lifting, I should say, not fray. So you have 2 ears. So remember, the ears go on either side of the cat's head, and because and then now see, it kind of looks like a bunny, and the reason is the cat's head is not flat yet. So this is what we're going to do. You need a little splay, which is a little bit of wool to attach your ear. So we're going to needle felt that ear right on the side. And you look at the size of the ear and it's coming down halfway down on the cat's head. Is because you want it really secure. You don't want to just kind of sit it up on top of the cat's head. So the cat's anatomy is those ears being on either side of the head, the middle of the head of the cat being a little flat, and that adds to the feature of the cat. So we're going to turn it around. Now you see how the shape changed? It's kind of hard to see with this white. It seems a little grainy, but the shape of the cat's head changed right there, and we're going to change it back in a minute. But we're attaching the ear. We put a little splay on top of that piece, and I'm needle felting that right in. And I want to show you too how you can cut these ears to the way you want them to be. So now I'm coming into the center here of the cat's head, and I'm going to flatten that because the cat has flat. Dog has more of a rounded, but the cat has a little bit flat. So now these are kind of high, right? And look at, they're uneven too. So I want to show you. This is our demo, so we're going to cut these ears down to the size we want to have a cat. And look, so you can cut these. That is how you get your ears attached. That's how you get your ears attached. Now, let's say you made a big mistake, you don't like the ears, this and that. Guess what? Before you put any more wool over this, because you'll be doing something to this part you just put the splay and you attached it, right? Let's say you made a big mistake. Pull it off. Pull it off. That is how easy you can amend your needle felting. That's how easy. Now, if you loved those pieces and you wanted them there, then you put more wool around and you build on that. So those are the ears. That's how you do the ears. Now we're going to do a tail. So let's say we want this color tail. We'll use this so you can see it. There's a couple ways you can do it. You can spray the wool, get it wet, and then roll it. Or you can simply do, this is how I do it. I splay it. I make it as long as I think that I want it to be. And I amend it as I go along. I can cut it, I can add to it. But this is how I'm going to basically start. And I'm going to fold it and fold it and fold it. So basically roll it. And continue needle felting until I get the desired shape and tail that I want. And just like the ears, I folded those into triangles and then cut. You can cut too. So just like this, you can just keep rolling it into the shape, a desired little rope type shape for the tail. And that is how you go about getting your tail. Now to attach the tail, and this is big tail, right? And this isn't really complete, but to attach it, when you put it onto your form, you can either put it underneath and needle felt it, and then cover it with other colors, the white, red, black, blue, whatever you're using. But again, you're going to needle felt it on. You're going to, again, use splay to make sure that this is nice and secure. And there's your tail, right? And before you put that splay on and you're really adhering it, if you don't like it, just pull it off. So that's the tail. And so you got the tail, the ears, and now I'm going to give you a couple of ideas with this demo on how to do eyes and a face. Okay, so there's a couple different ways. You can use buttons for the eyes, which is traditional and really cute. You can use wool, and the way you do that, I'm just going to show you, is first use your needle, felting needle, to make indentations to where you want, let's say, your eyes to be. This one, I don't want any eyes on this. I like the silhouette of it. I just adore that. So that one we're going to leave. So for the demo, though, you're going to put indentations for the eyes. Put them for the, where you want the nose and the mouth. Like that. And you can use a darning needle and yarn. You can use thread, but thread to me is difficult to use because you have to make sure it's knotted. You have to make sure it's sewn in really good. Not that you don't with the yarn, but with the wool, I'm going to show you, and the yarn, it's a little easier. So with the wool, you have your indentations there. So you pick one. you're gonna need even less than that. You don't need much at all for the wool. You don't need much at all. So you place the wool over the indentation where you made the eye, and you needle felt. You needle felt the wool in. And you can, like cats kind of have eyes that are not completely round, right? Okay, so here's an eye. You do the same with the indentation on the other side with the wool. The wool, once you start jabbing, you'll see it naturally go right in, and you shape it the way you want. Now that's one way. Another way is to take a darning needle and the yarn, and because you made your indentation there, you can see where it is. So you're just going to go through that, go towards the back of the head, and you're going to pull it. And the knot there's a knot. I made a knot. You want to make your knot. And there's another eye. So in the back, what you're going to do, or what you can do, is tie a knot. And tie a knot. And then just bring your, if you're doing the other eye, like yarn, just go back through, okay? And then when you come back to the back of the head, just make sure you have a knot, and then just pull it through and then tie it off. Come back around and add some wool to cover up your little knot there. So that's how you do the eyes. Now the whiskers, you can make them kind of just, you know, sew them in and make them just kind of free flowing. I say make sure you have knots there, because if you don't, they will fall out. Or the other way is to do exactly kind of what I did with the eyes, is just sew the nose in. You're coming in the back of the head. First, again, make the indentation with your needle felting needle. Make that indentation there. If it doesn't come out perfectly the first time, you're trying to make the little nose and mouth, pull it out and do it again. So just don't tighten it up. So come back. So we're going to come through the back of the head here, like that. We're going to pull that through. And it's just like we're sewing, right? We're sewing. And I'm not going to pull this tight, because if it doesn't come out the way I want it, then I can just pull it. See, it's a little crooked. It's a little crooked. So I want to be able to redo that. So, or sometimes if you pull it a little tight, see, look, actually, sometimes if you pull it a little tight, it will pull into the wool and it won't be so noticeable. So there's a couple different ways you can do that. And then come to the bottom and make and embroider or sew in your little mouth. And that's a really good way to do that. And then you simply add your whiskers. So I hope that helps. I mean, it gives you the essentials on making a beautiful little cat. And if you have any questions, you let me know, and I will either do another video on that or walk you through it. And I hope you have a beautiful day. Thank you for joining me.